Breakdowns.
Welcome back to the Chill Sounds and Breakdowns podcast. We have another great episode for you. This one should have happened a while back because we've been talking about it for a little bit, and I'm just like not organized, but we're getting it going, so I'm excited. We're on episode 80, and today we have Michael Ford of Michael Tone Jam. Michael, we got Spitjam Collective. But how are you doing today? First of all, happy belated. You just had a birthday, right?
Oh, yeah. I just turned 27 on the 13th.
Woo, nice.
Last weekend.
You made it.
27 club.
Yeah.
Let's see if I make it.
We'll see. Okay. But yeah, how have you been?
Pretty good, man. Just busy, which is why I think we started talking about this podcast, in March?
Yeah, I think so.
It's now August.
Yeah. But okay, busy. So what have you been up to?
Just shooting shows. Ever since me and Alexa started Spitjam, I've just been kind of throwing photo pass requests out to every band that comes through and seeing what sticks. Like the latest one was Under Oath and Ghost Inside.
Wow.
That was a good one.
How was that show?
That was amazing because Ghost Inside is like that band that got me through whenever I dropped out of college.
Really? Okay.
And so getting to shoot them, especially after everything happened with their bus accident, was like an awe moment.
That whole thing with him was in like, first of all, it's devastating to what happened, you know what I mean? Like their drummer lost their fucking leg, and it's just like all out of nowhere, like they were up and coming and doing like awesome stuff, and then that shit just wrecks everything. But what I liked is that it was such a cool showing of like that side of the music community where everybody came together, and it just felt like one of those like common goal like moments where everybody was supporting them, and to see like the recovery process with them, and now they're back and playing shows, and I mean you were there. I'm assuming it was like an amazing show.
Oh yeah, it was incredible. I wish I could have gone to their reunion show that was in I think LA, but tickets sold out within 10 seconds, and that
10 seconds.
This was before. I think this was before scalpers were really like prominent too.
Yeah.
It sold out literally in under 10 seconds.
That's wild. And according to that, it's probably mostly just actual people who went.
Yeah. Sold out show. I mean, and plus if you watch, I think they didn't make like a documentary about it, but they put out a video with like a bunch of behind the scenes, and you can see people from so many different bands in the genre. Like A Day to Remember, I think was there. Amity Affliction was there. Like so many actual bands were there to see it too.
That's
which I thought
really
was cool.
That's really cool. That was a really nice moment to come out of like a very tragic event, tragedy. But so the Spitjam Collective is relatively new, or how long have you been doing that?
So it's technically new. Alexis had messaged me about it, I want to say like 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And she was like, hey, I'm thinking of starting my own online magazine thing. If you want to be a contributor, like, let me know. And I was like, okay, cool. And I just kind of left it at that because I was still trying to find my own bearings, like as a photographer, because I'm still relatively new to the scene. Mm-hmm. And about 6 months later, she was like, hey, what if we start a publication together? And she's going to laugh that I'm saying this. I told her no for about a year.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, no, I don't have time for this. Like, I don't want to put all my effort into a publication, like running one, and no. And she just kept saying like, okay, but what if you did? And so a year later, I was like, all right, fuck it, whatever, let's do it. And so we started. We literally took, because she's Spitfire Images, I'm Tone Jam. We literally just put it together and made Spitjam.
Spitjam immediately. I mean, that's a pretty easy way to combine that and kind of show like you guys are both pretty much the founders.
It's like
of
a collab,
because now you have a few people like under the collective that are also like photographers and like doing articles and stuff like that as well, right?
Yeah. So we have Brentley, who's a photographer and reviewer, and then we have Jared. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. God, Henninger, photographer as well, and also a reviewer. We just brought on Matt Benton. I think he goes by Matt Black. Super cool guy. photographer and reviewer, and then my girlfriend also writes reviews every now and then too.
Wow. Okay. So there's like a few people working on it now.
Yeah.
That's really cool. It is something interesting and something, I don't know. It's just, it's something that's not, I don't think we have anything in the area of people like I know that we're doing something like that. And I think it's cool, especially when you start forming a bigger team and there's multiple people doing stuff. So there's people always putting stuff out, and you get to share the kind of platform that you're building with other, like I said, up and coming photographers or other people who want to get in it. It's a really cool way. And just the more articles and reviews and like just content available is just like, it just makes for cooler shit, and you meet like exactly. I don't know, I just like that. And
the opportunities kind of get better the more you're doing. I mean, we've been a publication for like a year. We don't have too much stuff out, but I mean, we still like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Yeah. Like we got, Matt just covered Nickelback for our publication. Shit. Okay. Yeah. And it's like, a lot of people don't realize that like your publication doesn't have to be big. Yeah. It just has to exist, and you have to put out stuff, and that's it. Interesting. And then we have some people that focus more on like local scene stuff. So Alexis does a lot of local scene kind of coverage. Jared does a lot of local scene coverage. So I think it's a good mix that we have going on right now. That's really good, because you tackle both. Like again, like the national acts and getting those opportunities are amazing, but still dedicating time to your local scene. Exactly. And like, showing love to the people that kind of helped us get to where we are. Yeah. Because I mean, if I wouldn't have photographed local bands, I wouldn't be photographing the bands I'm shooting now. Yeah. And I still shoot like the local scene too. I think it's a good idea to have like one foot still in that scene, because it's where you interact the most, and you still meet people on that local level doing cool things that eventually will do like great things. And then which is one of the, like, it's one of the things I talk about here when like I talk to like people on the podcast. It's like, you like, I don't know if you understand, but like I started to see some of my friends now that I've seen for years like doing crazy amazing stuff. So I'm like, anybody that I talk to now has that potential, like, you know, to grow, like, and any type of encouragement is always welcome, and just might be the little bit that keeps that band going, or that keeps that artist. We're like, hey, I was about to throw it in, but you know, someone thinks I'm like, likes my music, or somebody like thinks we could do something, so I might keep it going. It's the other side of that I think a lot of people don't know how much that actually hurts like your music scene and just artists that you'll never get to see, because like if all you do is like, oh, they suck because you don't want to see them grow their potential, like you could literally just stunt like an amazing band and just have them call it in. Go back to literally like the biggest bands in our scene and go listen to their first demos and their first records, and tell me that it was what it is today. Yeah. Like, you have to start out somewhere. Yeah, and it's such a phrase we hear like so often, where it's like, yeah, you're gonna start from somewhere. You just start, and a lot of people that's what defeats them like right at the door, because of all this like comparison where you're like, well, I'm not this when you try, you know what I mean? And you do. That's why that's one of the things that over the years that I've come to learn is like, you need to get over that like right away, where it's like, you're gonna suck, like be okay with sucking. You have to suck. And the thing, my favorite thing about music too is like, if you put out a subpar song like quality wise, it can still rip. Yeah. So just put it out, and then whenever you play it live, just put the energy into it, because a lot of times people, if they see you live and you kill it, they don't care how your songs sound. Yeah. Because they want to see you live, because they enjoy the vibe that you put out. Yeah, I've definitely have had some of like my favorite songs have the shittiest recordings, and it's just like, I don't care, because like it's a good song. Like, exactly. At the end of the day, like a good song will like come through on no matter like what it sounds like. And yeah, the other side, your live show will definitely be what I think your strongest like piece in your arsenal will be, is if you play that song and it's even more amazing, like when they see you live and hear it, then you've got in the bag. You can sound like whatever on your recordings, because they're going to want to come see you, which is what you want. Like exactly, at the end of the day, like you want them to come out to your, you know, shows. With the way, you know, bands make the most money out of, it's not
listening to your music or even buying it. It's going to be them coming out to shows, them, buying merch because they like you and they want to support you. But yeah, that's such a big thing that I noticed. And even just finding some bands, I've found some bands where I'm listening to them for the first time live, and it's amazing, and that has me go home, listen to them, and be like, oh, the recording's not that good, but I'll see them again, like, because I know live they're really great. Or
even you needed to see them live to appreciate the recording style of it. So like the band Sirens and Sailors out of like, I think they're from like Rochester, New York. I listened to a couple of their songs and I was like, all right, this is pretty good. Like I'll jam this. And then I saw them open for Beartooth back in 2014 and they blew me away. And so ever since then, I've been listening to them. Yeah. Like for the last 10 years almost.
Wow. Okay.
Because they just blew me away like that.
I've had similar, not a similar experience exactly, but I've been listening to like Bill Murray for like forever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's amazing. I like this music a lot, but seeing it live just completely like solidified me. I was like, this is one of my favorite bands. Like this is like the not the nail in the coffin, but it's just like the final straw of being like, no, this is for sure. Like I can say that they're amazing, like through and through, like as a live performance, as their recordings, and it just was crazy. I was nowhere near like what I was expecting. I was just expecting to see them play their songs, but that entire show like completely solidified. Like, I fucking love this band. They're really fucking good. Yeah, and but yeah, it is important, that live experience, because you're there in person, and just energy is something you can't replicate like when you're not like at those shows. Like even like that's what the thing with like when like COVID was around, where we didn't have shows and people were doing live streams. I'm like, this is, I guess, like this will scratch it.
I'll watch it.
There's nothing else.
Part of the enjoyment of watching live videos is seeing the crowd. Yeah. Which is why I love, like, I'm not super deep in the hardcore scene, but I'll watch Hate 5-6 videos all day long just because of the crowd.
Yeah, and even so, that's a good example of like someone who just started like recording shows, and now like seeing their rigs and like setups for 856 is crazy. Like how that's developed just over time. We're just like, just start doing something.
Just start somewhere and then gradually change your process until it's what you want.
How did you like get started in photography in general? Was it always concert photography, or was it just something different?
So yeah, I mean, it started out as concert photography. I wanted to get into photography because I realized, I didn't realize, but I came to the kind of grown-up decision that me being in a band probably wasn't gonna be a thing, just because I just didn't dedicate myself to it. Yeah. And so I was like, well, I still want to be involved in the scene. Like, what can I do? And I took video classes whenever I was in middle school. And then I took like video tech in high school. I was like, okay, maybe I can do photography. And so I was talking to my friends in Saints Can Lie, and love those dudes.
Shout out Saints Can Lie.
Some of my best friends. Yeah. They're putting out a new song on, September 8th, I think.
Okay. I think it was somewhere. Definitely know
September 8th. Yeah. Go look at it. And also go watch their TikTok. So I was just talking to them, and they were really supporting of me doing that. And so I finally bought a camera, and around the time I bought a camera, I started a podcast called the Tone Jam Podcast, which was kind of the same vibe, like talking to local musicians. Yeah, we only lasted 5 episodes though. There was a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I was like, oh god, this is hard. Yeah. But through that, I made a couple friends, and the first band I ever shot was The Important Reasons. I think it was. Yeah, they were opening for, I think Saints might have been headlining the show. But at the time, I was in a position where I couldn't stay for the whole thing. So I just shot Important Reasons, sent them dog shit photos. They're terrible photos. But, they were like, oh, man, this is awesome. And so I needed that. And so from there, I shot them. And then I just kind of started shooting a few local bands. And then COVID happened. So this was all in 2019. Oh, wow. Yeah, I got into it literally November. I think November of 2019 was the first show I shot, and I bought my camera like 2 months prior. Damn. So Saints played the K-Fish birthday bash at Reno's, like, the week before COVID.
Okay, so beginning of March?
Yeah, that was I think it was like March 7th was the show. Yeah. And then COVID happened. And I was like, all right,
Yeah.
what do I do now? And so I just kind of spent that time just researching like concert photography and how to kind of like improve at it. And then my biggest thing that helped me was I was in a relationship at the time and we were saving up to buy a house, and then we broke up. And so we just kind of split the savings down the middle.
Okay.
And so I put all of my money into like a cinema camera, a big fancy computer. I don't have a cinema camera anymore.
No.
But I wanted to get into videography. Shot a few music videos in 2020, 2021 when shows started rolling around. The band Nothing For You, they have Jake and John from Saints Can Lie in it.
Yeah.
So just kind of by proxy started shooting them. I shot King 810 as like my first show back in photography, and then the rest is kind of history.
Then you just kept going.
Just kind of that's when the train started, and then I made friends with the guy that used to do photography for Fit for a King, and he got me a photo pass to shoot their headliner tour with Silent Planet and Avoid and I think Hollow Front.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then I realized that you can't like expect. I never did, but you can't expect touring photographers to like give you photo passes. And so I was like, okay, so I cannot be that guy that's constantly begging.
Yeah.
Let me just find a publication. And so that's how I shot So What.
So then now that you started your own, everything goes through your own publication for those.
Yeah.
That's something that I didn't think about, but somebody, because I was like, damn, it sucks that I can't like get my camera into like a show I was going to, and then like I like, what does that entail? Because I'm like, would Noise Rock qualify as an online publication? Like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it could.
It's so funny that you ask that, because I have a friend that just messaged me a few days ago.
Yeah.
He spent $700 on VIP tickets for the Snoop Dogg, is it Wiz Khalifa show?
Yeah.
$700. And he was like, hey, dude, I'm bringing my camera. What do you think of this like setup? And I was like, oh, you have a photo pass? Like, I didn't know you did concert photography.
Yeah.
And he, not involved in the music scene at all, just a photographer. He photographs his car all the time. Super cool dude. He goes, what the hell is a photo pass?
Oh no.
And I was like, you can't just like bring your camera to shows? And he was like, what do you mean? And in my head, I'm like, yeah, you know what? That doesn't, why can't we just bring cameras
That is
to
a thing.
shows?
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense to just do it. But then I was like, professional quality cameras, and I gave him the whole spiel about it. Like, you read the venue's website, it has all these rules.
Yeah.
And he was like, that's ass.
Yeah.
And I was like, I hope you didn't spend the $700 to take the photos. Like, you could have just found a publication that probably let you cover it.
Yeah.
But you guys could, I think Noise Rock could qualify as an online
I felt like
thing.
shooting a few shots, like just like throwing it out and be like, oh, we do this. We put stuff out.
Yeah, just take some photos at some shows, put it on your website, and then there you go.
There you go. But yeah, like, so I was, that photo pass thing is interesting. I mean, I'm thinking about it now because I'm like, I don't think that really started till like later, but it's just because I didn't start noticing it till I was like actually in the music scene and going to shows and thinking about it. But that is a weird rule because they let you take in like your phone and point and shoot stuff. But I guess when it gets to like a bigger setup, because what got me is that, like, for example, like we use the Sony A6400s for the podcast, right? So they're small camera, but it does have a detachable lens, so it would qualify to not be let in. And I'm like, but it's not that different in size from like one of the point and the other Sony camera that has like the non-detachable lens. So what is like the biggest difference that's like bothering venues? I guess they just have to like do like a sweeping across so I don't bring in the giant one with the
I
zoom.
think that's what it is, because like you could bring that and then you could put like a 70 to 200 or like a 400 millimeter lens on it, and then from wherever you are in the crowd you could take professional quality photos. I don't know where it stemmed from, but I do know that there are bands that don't allow press. Like they don't allow photographers unless you know somebody. But like Bad Omens hasn't been allowing press on their tours in the last couple of years. I think it's Beyonce doesn't allow press for. You remember that meme photo of Beyonce where she has the like really sour face on? Because of that photo, I think it's because of that one, she doesn't allow press anymore.
So everything is controlled by.
It's all about like, because if you have an online magazine and you take these professional quality photos and you advertise yourself as a concert photographer, I really don't know.
I mean, I could see why like an artist would do it.
If you take unflattering photos of people, that definitely like...
So that I can definitely see where I'm like, oh, I would rather control exactly what comes out. Rather than someone taking stuff.
Some places do that. Some places, before you even post any coverage, like you have to get it approved through the PR or the band's management.
Interesting.
Like I know that. So the Crown the Empire show last year, their 10-year Fallout tour. I didn't shoot for a publication of that show because Saints opened it. Yeah. Another thing, if you're a photographer, network with your local scene because you never know what shows they could open up for that you could get into.
Yeah.
But because of that, I was able to shoot all the bands with a photo pass, but I didn't go through a publication. So I was just posting photos, and they were like, oh my God, how did you get your photos approved so fast? And I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, yeah, well, since we're shooting for this publication, like, they have to approve all the photos. And it's like, oh, I have to do that now if I'm in a publication?
Interesting. So who was approving their photos? Their own publication, or
I think it was probably their management or something. I really don't know. I was talking to Brent about it.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's standard, like first 3 no flash, send the coverage over once it's posted.
Yeah.
But every now and then you get like some thing where it's like I'm part of a concert photography group on Facebook, and there's, I don't remember what band, but it's like no photos from right in front of the singer. Like,
interesting.
Yeah, and there's stories of like these big like legendary rock bands that just hate photographers, and so they're like, no, like don't take any pictures of me from right in front of me.
That's just not their angle, and they know it for years, I guess.
I guess so. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
but then you have people like Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift has been approving like really small publications.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's a lot. It goes back to the whole venues not allowing anything but point and shoots. You can buy a point and shoot that can take just as good photos as a professional camera.
Yeah.
And then I remember I was talking to James Kaufman, and he made a status about this. Like he shot Ed Sheeran, but he didn't have a photo pass. But AT&T Stadium had, instead of having like a no detachable lens, they had your camera has to be smaller than X amount. Oh. And so he was like, all right, well, if I bring this camera and this lens, it'll be smaller than the required amount, and I can still take photos.
Yeah. That's kind of smart. I just saw something. It was like there's a guy explaining he had gone to the Taylor Swift The Eras tour and captured like these really good videos, and where they posted videos, and people were like, how did you get these done? Like, you were really far away, and you can't get those cameras in. But it was I can't remember which exact Sony camera it was, but it didn't have a detachable lens. It just had a really nice like optical zoom on it, and he just did like burst shots. So he shot, I forgot how many pictures.
Are you talking about the guy on TikTok?
Yeah.
And he put the photos together to make them a video?
Yes.
Dude, I saw tight. That shit was so awesome.
And it came out amazing. Like, he's like, yeah, it would be way better than if I was like recording at this level, because the quality of the photos were way better than the video would have been. And I'm like, that's so fucking smart. Because
the burst speed on that Sony is so stupid. Because
it took a shit ton. Yeah. Like, enough to make a seamless video, you know?
I didn't even realize it was photos until I watched it a second time.
Yeah. I looked at it and I'm like, I guess maybe I can tell now. Or maybe it's just because I saw the breakdown first. Yeah. But I'm like, other than that, I go, that's such a smart idea. But I guess that's one of the ways that you could get around like not being able to get a photo pass, or he was like in the crowd like somewhere, not a close shot. But I thought that was so cool, and like just a way to.
It's a thing, like, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Just do it, and then you can take those photos, put those photos on a website, spend like $20 a month for Squarespace or something. Make a website with a portfolio, and then start just kind of throwing it at everything and wait till something sticks.
Yeah, you brought up networking, and that's I'm realizing in every industry that's such an essential like part, like to network is what they taught me. I went to school for UX design, and on day one my professor was like, hey, this doesn't really apply to the actual job itself, but just career advice: network with anybody you can, because that's how you grow. Yeah, and no one, like you were saying, like, you don't know which one of these bands is going to open up for like some bigger band and you can shoot the entire show if they get you in because you're their photographer.
Exactly.
Or you don't know who people just know, you know what I mean, in general, or like what opportunity this person's going to get, how they can let you meet some other people. I've done that like a lot where I'm just like, oh, okay, like I didn't know what that, like, networking always seemed very, in my head when I heard networking, it was always networking event. So it was always like these like things you have to get invited to or go to. I didn't even know what it was.
Specifically
I'm like,
meet people. Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, do I have to bring like a resume? And I'm like handing it out to like people. Like, what is networking? And then it just breaks down to just talking to people as much as you can and seeing like what, you know, connections they have and who they put you in touch with or who you can put them in touch with. And again, you create your own community to keep building together. You know what I mean? Like, you were talking like Brent earlier. Brent like brought you up like on the podcast and was saying something about how it was like, oh yeah, you know, Michael told me my photos sucked, and I'm like, cool.
Okay, I watched that and I was like, oh man, Brent's on there. I gotta watch it for my boy. And then within a minute he was talking about that, and I was like, oh god. Yeah, no, I mean it comes down to like networking in your circle, and then also like making genuine, don't network just to one up, like network to make genuine connections with people.
Yeah.
And through making genuine connections, like I've had, because I was surrounded by, you know, I mean, you want to hype up everybody in your life. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't ever tell anybody, hey man, you shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
There's exceptions, but like for like if somebody's following their dreams, like hell yeah, support it.
Yeah.
But there comes a point where it's like, all right, I think you should reevaluate what you're doing because I see what you're trying to do and I see what you're doing and you're missing something.
Yeah.
And just trying to help them find what they're missing in it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, my photos, I still have a hard time taking photos. Like basic composition and stuff has always been kind of a struggle for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
But through talking to people like James Kaufman and a few other people, like, they'll tell you straight, like, no, this ain't it.
Yeah.
This photo is not it. It's unflattering. Like, you're doing this and this. Like, I see what you're trying to do, but no. And then in doing that, you go back to your photo and you're like, okay, well, let me try this. Follow the feedback you're given, and then the photo turns out like even better.
Yeah, I think when I talk about that, it's two things. One, you have to be receptive to criticism. If you ask somebody, you can't get pissed when they tell you that they don't agree with you. So that's first. And second, also take into account who's telling you this. Like, is it somebody that actually cares about you? That's why what you were saying, meaningful networking connections. Yes, you want people that you actually care what they're saying.
Yep.
Because if it's some random person that you don't, like, you might not take that criticism. Or if you take a random person's criticism to heart, that could just be talking shit just to talk shit. Like, you can't decipher those.
People do it all the time. Stay off of Twitter.
Yes, but if you have somebody, like, if it's like one of your, you know, friends, colleagues, like mentors that's telling you this stuff, then you're more likely to be like, okay, like, they're not doing it to talk down on me. They're doing it because they want me to get better. They want me to put something out better. Which is why, I mean, it's funny you brought this up, but there's a Cutthroat was on here. And we were talking about just like friends in music and stuff like that. And I was telling them, I'm like, I support all of my friends that are doing like cool stuff. I go, that doesn't necessarily mean that I like everything that they do.
Yeah.
I go, and that's just out of taste. Cause like I know a bunch of musicians. I'm like, hey, keep fucking doing what you're doing. Like sometimes the music isn't for me, and I'm not one to be like, that music sucks just because like I don't like it. I go, that's crazy. I go, and again, I'm not going to be that one person that talks shit and makes you not want to do that anymore. You know what I mean?
Exactly. There's no point in just like, if something isn't your bread and butter.
Yeah. Like
there's bands that I love in our scene, but I love them because of who's in them.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because I feel connected to their music. But at the same time, I'm still going to share every time they post.
Yeah.
I'm still going to promote all their stuff because even though it's not for me, it's for somebody else.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. And going out of your way to be like, I don't really like this music, but I think you guys will. I think it's kind of backhanded almost because it's like, okay, I don't think you needed to say that you didn't like it.
Yeah.
At first, just share it.
Yeah. And it's, again, because you want, if those are your friends, if those are the people that you love, like you want them to find their audience. You
exactly.
know what I mean? And these days, like there is an audience for almost literally everything. You know what I mean? Like you just need to find it. He's like, that's your mission, is like to find the people who actually enjoy your music because of the music, or enjoy your art or your work because they actually like saw a picture and like, this looks cool as fuck. They saw the rest of your portfolio and like, I really like this, more than, oh, I know this person, so I'm gonna, I guess, tell. Like, that's, you want support, but you also want that legitimate, like, where people are actually into your work, like whatever you're putting out, because of your work, not just because of like who you are. You know what I mean? It's you need to have both, but you're on a mission to find those people, because that's the people that are going to carry you throughout your career. You know what I mean? That's who's going to like actually help you. And it's a little tough, and sometimes like it's tough to have those conversations, and like, but I also don't offer criticism if no one asks for it.
If nobody's asking for the criticism, then I think a lot of times it's kind of like, are you really doing it? There's certain circumstances where you can reach out and be like, hey, I've seen you doing this and I want to like kind of talk to you about it, just see why. But there's every week on Twitter, there's a new discourse with concert photographers, and one of them recently was this guy posted some photos. They were really good photos, and then one of the big concert photographers of Twitter shared it and was like, hey, just some constructive criticism, and then listed out like 10 things wrong with his set, and everybody was like, did he ask for that? Like, you're just kind of bashing his work on a public social media thing, and nobody asked for it. Let's say he wanted to do that for the person, he could have easily, hey, messaged you on this set privately and be like, hey, you took these, they look awesome, these are what I can think. Because I mean, maybe the criticism was actually like constructive and could have helped, but the fact that like, hey, I just shared it, but it's like, it's because it almost shows like some sort of superiority conflict. So I'm like, hey, this is like how I would have done it better than you, and like because I'm better than you, instead of like, if I really wanted to help you, hey, let me message you probably, hey, I would suggest doing these so you can get better. Like, there's those obvious things where it wants to be painted as like, oh, like I'm just trying to help you out, but it really is just like, this is how I like,
show
hey
them.
Guys, look at how cool I am.
Yeah, like, and that's,
I know what I'm doing.
I don't know what that feeds. You know what I mean? It's, again, that's, I think, more discouraging to the photographer than actually like,
especially with how big that photographer is. Like,
oh really?
Yeah, and it's another thing, like, know your reach. Like, that guy has so much reach, and to do that, it's like, oh, dude, that's kind of a slap in the face. Yeah,
and I mean, it could be, I don't know, but it's like one of the people that this person's looking up to.
Exactly.
And it gets you like, oh, like I didn't ask for like criticism here, and they're just like talking down on myself. And again, it's that one, could be that one thing's like, oh wow, this guy thinks that I messed up all of this, and you know, maybe it's not for me, you know, then they stop or whatever. But it is like knowing what reach you have. Like, it's, I understand that it's relatively new to like, I guess in the span of actual like social media and stuff like that, and getting up to like a certain level where you do have to look into account and be like, oh, what am I doing? Like, at some point you will end up having a public platform. Yeah. And the things you choose to say on that public platform will be directly related to your art as well. I mean, people say separate the art from the artist, but a lot of times, like, if the artist is that like kind of shitty, I don't want to support the art either. Yeah. It is very like difficult, like in those where people, especially in today's day and age where everybody has Twitter, everybody has TikTok. And the thing is, it's like a necessary evil. Yeah. Because like you know, a lot of people, I mean, we throw around the term local band because they're local to us. Yeah. But at the end of the day, is the goal to be a local band. Like, if you're running your band as a business, like, you have to use those social medias to get out there, because that's how you're gonna find the mass majority of your audience. Just like any business, you know, you want your friends' support, but you really want the people you don't know to support you. Strangers, more. Yeah, you want, like, again, people who don't have any sort of, you know, anything on the line. Yeah, any dog to fight, any like type of relationship to you where they're like, okay, like I'm gonna be a little biased. You want somebody who's completely like just likes your music because they like that music, and then you know, if also be a good person and stuff like that, so that you can keep those people around. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it felt like for a while, like every every band that people were into, like some sort of like shitty thing was coming out of like one of the members and stuff like that. And that's when like I felt like that argument was being brought up a lot more, like, oh, separate the art from the artist and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's really hard though, because
it's very hard when the person that's writing these songs, like, you realize what these songs were possibly about.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation. It's not, I don't think it's as black and white as anything, but it is. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, you just separate it, and sometimes it like
there's a big. It's mostly gray area.
Yeah, it's a giant gray. Yeah,
there's levels to everything. Like if somebody was an asshole to you one time whenever you met them.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I have that story with like some band. When I was playing in a band, we opened for this bigger like local, and the one interaction I had with everybody loved like this band. I mean, they were really good. So I was like, okay, cool. But I left my glasses on stage, and then they were still setting up, and I didn't want to go up there. So I saw the glasses by one of them, and I'm like, it's like, can you hand me those glasses? And like, one guy was gonna grab them, and someone else saw them and like grabbed them and like threw them at me, like just like threw my like actually like overhand like throw, not like toss or
like
anything,
baseball.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what the fuck? And like ever since then, I'm like, that man fucking sucks.
Yeah, fuck all those guys.
Fuck all those, like I don't care. But yeah, it was like one interaction that I thought was funny, because I'm like, I'm sure they're not like.
I mean,
that all
first
the time,
impressions are so weird, because like I have a similar story where I was helping a band break down and helping the next band set up, and they said like a couple. At the time I took them as shitty comments, like shitty remarks, like, "Oh, get out of the way" or something, like where they could have been more polite. I was like, "Fuck these guys." The music, music was amazing, such a good set. But I was like, "Fuck these guys," da 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 da. And then I started talking to them, and like, they're super nice guys. And I was like, all right, just caught them at the wrong time. Like, it happens.
Yeah, which is why like now I take every one of those things with like, all right, I need to chill. Like, it depends, like, where was I when I like took that comment?
What headspace was I in?
Or what were they, same thing again, and I realized for them, like, oh, they're about to go on. Like, even that band, like, now I'm just like, oh, they were about to go on. They're dealing with all other stuff. Like, I mean, I know when I'm setting up, I don't
Who knows
really
what kind of technical issues running into at those kind of shows, too.
So I was like, okay, yeah, just...
And a lot of it is also, like, our own ego. I don't think... I think there's very few people in the world that don't have some sort of an ego.
Yeah.
And you have to check it constantly. And I think that was one of those times where I took offense to it. And then later I was like, no, they weren't being assholes at all. That's just how I took it at the time.
Well, you realize that it's not all about you. And then like in your head, it's the one thing I remember when they were throwing out the term like, oh, like they're like, this person's the main character of like the story. I'm like, no, maybe everybody's their own main character. Like, so you're going to take everything as how it affects you first. Like,
you should be the main character of your own life.
That's how you should be acting. But everything in other people's world is not completely about you. Exactly. And it was like, I think it was like a Bo Burnham interview that I heard when it was like, it was about anxiety and stuff. And I just remember it was, I'm going to probably butcher this line, but it was something to the effect of like, you'll stop worrying about what other people think of you when you realize how seldomly they do. And I was like, you're right. Like most of the time, again, I'm worried about myself, like, first, because that's just life, that's the way the brain is, and then it's not all about me, you know what I mean? Like, they're not like, I sometimes think I do something weird and be like, oh, what did this person think? I'm like, who gives a fuck, you know what I mean? Like, it's not affecting me personally. And like stuff like that, again, like, that wasn't even because of me. They're dealing with something else. Like, to them, it could have been like, oh no, I literally in my head, that person's like, oh, I just handed them their glasses.
They've probably never thought about that interaction.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
So
here I am years later,
like,
still talking about it.
I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah,
I'm still mad.
But it's all that. But I think it's just being able to take those steps back and be like, all right, hold on. Yeah, it's not as a big deal.
Biggest deal in the world.
And even if that I am right about that, why am I still thinking about it? You know what I mean? Exactly. Why am I giving it more energy?
That person's living rent free in your head, and it's only causing you to be angry. I think that's my biggest thing is I don't like to be angry.
Yeah.
And so I just to a fault, I let so much stuff just go. And my girlfriend sometimes will be like, why are you so calm about X situation? And I'm like, because why not?
Yeah.
Like, if I'm mad about it, the situation is the situation. I can't go back and change whatever event happened or whatever's like happening right now. So why am I going to get myself all riled up about it?
Yeah. Anger is just, I don't know, such a waste of energy. And it's a big one. Like when you're angry about something, it takes physically like out of you. Like, and I had a situation actually earlier this year where I realized like I haven't been angry in years maybe, and like I got to that and I'm like, I fucking hate this, so I need to figure out what I need to do to like remedy this situation, because this is terrible. Like I don't like that I'm waking up feeling this way. I'm like, exactly, it's clouding everything else. It's getting in the way of like my like happiness, because and someone else is affecting me.
And then also your social circle too. Like if you're pissed off the entire time, like, how are you treating those around you?
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like, just because I think one of the things that I always tell people is like, yeah, intention and action are two totally different things. Yeah, you're not trying to be an asshole to this person, but you're being an asshole. Mm-hmm. You're not intending to make like shitty small comments about somebody because you're mad, but you're still doing it.
Yeah. And again, like it gets to everybody. So it's like also like you can't completely now turn it around on you and be like, oh, I'm a shitty person. I'm like, you're not, like, but you are, you know, being this right now. Yeah. I'm like, so fix it. Like, okay, figure out what needs to happen for you not to do that. You
do a self-reflection on it. What's the phrase? People don't remember what you say to them. They remember how it made them feel.
Yeah. And you don't get a say, like in...
you don't get to decide how somebody takes your comments.
Yeah. And that's when... I can't remember. I've heard that a few times too. But it's like, yeah, when somebody says you offended them, like you don't get to tell them that they don't get offended. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I mean, you don't... Again, you don't have control over a lot of that. So... it's like it's a scale, like, you know, you
exactly.
Gotta
it's out, like, is the offense like a level 10 where it's like, oh shit, like I really fucked up? Is it kind of like a level 2 where it's like, all right, well, I mean, there's just a giant gray area to everything. Yeah, because again, it's just, I think most people need to realize that it's all gray. Like people want stuff to be black and white because it's easy. Like, yes, I want to this. Yes, I'm mad about this all the time. This, I'm completely against this all the time, or whatever it may be. And it's easier to be like that because you don't have to weigh out that gray. Yeah, you know what I mean. And I think, but once you embrace the gray, you become, I think, a little bit more empathetic, more forgiving, more able to see that people can change, because the same gray that you give yourself, like, you need to like spread to everybody else and be like, okay. I think that's a big thing that also, like, in just like the music scene has helped me when becoming more involved with just like people in general, just knowing, and again, talking to people. I'm happy that this allows me to talk to a lot of people, because it just gives me more of that. I'm like, okay, but all these people interacting in my life like are just like me. They're just like, they feel the same shit that I do. Like, exactly. You know what I mean? They have the same sort of like inner monologues and struggles and stuff that I do. So why do I not like give them the same type of like opportunities, like, or just like that extra second of like empathy, and be like, before I completely like toss them away, you know? Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, that's the easy one, and be like, oh, you know, I don't want to, you know, I'm just not going to talk to this person, or I'm just like not going to, you know, blah, blah, cut these people out immediately. Like, no, let's invest a little energy, if you know, into the people that you actually want to stick around. Yeah, exactly. You have to really form those genuine relationships. And again, it's all about like, everybody should eat. You know, everybody should be able to eat. Not one person should be trying to step over everybody. Yeah. But in today's world, it's so easy to tell, like nowadays, when somebody's just getting at you to try and like one up you. Yeah. Yeah. And I've realized that a lot as I've gotten older, is how easy I can tell that. Like when someone's just like trying to interact with me because they want something, you know, versus like, hey, we're getting to know each other, we're making a connection, how can we help each other out? Or can you help me with this and that? But you can very much tell when someone's just like hanging around to get something from you. Yeah. And I'm just like, it feels so uncomfortable. And I'm like, oh, like, how do you, like, and the thing is, like, I'm not a big photographer by any means. Like I haven't shot too many local bands. I haven't shot too many like national touring acts. But there's still some people that'll get at me and they're like, "Hey, I have questions about like X, Y, and Z." And it's like, okay, I'll answer like photography questions to what I can. But then they'll like take it a step further and be like, "Hey, can you get me into this?" And it's like, first off, I appreciate that you think I have that kind of pull.
Yeah.
Second of all, no, like I don't know you.
Yeah.
Like people don't just hand those out, because if it's kind of like getting somebody a job somewhere. Like if you recommend somebody for a job and you don't really know them, and then they turn out piss poor at the job, that's going to come back on you. And then the next time you want to recommend somebody for something, that's going to affect you. Like they're going to be like, no, we don't want your recommendation.
Yeah, and I've felt that a lot more and had to take it to heart, because anytime I would deny something like that to someone that I didn't know, I felt really shitty, and I felt I was thinking about like what was being said. I was like, oh, this person didn't want to help me, and I'm like, but I also like you. If I'm recommending you for something, like that, it will be a reflection on me. It's not just like I don't know. Like otherwise, like I give the disclaimer of like, I know this person does this. I go, but I don't. Like
you can't speak for their.
I can't speak for them. Yeah. So stuff like that is kind of hard. And then sometimes like people approaching me for something and me having to say no, or we've said like, oh well, you can hire us to do this, but it sounded more like you were wanting us to put in all the footwork and then you to slap your name on it, and I'm just like,
exactly.
I go, so it was kind of like stuff like that, to where I'm like analyzing like, am I being a dickhead here, like, or is it like, are we really like trying to find the people who we actually do want to work with? Because literally like since we started Noise Riot, like our motto has just been like, do cool shit with cool people. That's literally what we like want to do. So events and stuff that we want to work with, anything that we do, like it's with people that we actually enjoy like doing stuff with.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like with Spitjam is we brought on a few people, and I was hesitant to bring on as many people as we did. I mean, I love everybody that's part of it, but at the end of the day, it's also like, okay, how is having this many people going to affect certain situations? It's like whenever it was just me doing my Tone Jam stuff, I had somebody that wanted to be a part of it. And back then I was, everybody eats. I still am. And so I was like, cool, I would love to figure out how to like work together on this. And then that person went on, like posted on social media about like, oh, I'm doing all of this stuff. Hire me. Like I'm doing this. And it's like, first off, you haven't done anything yet. Second of all, we were supposed to do this together to like help each other.
Yeah.
So no, like I'm not doing that. And so whenever Alexis came to me with the idea of the publication, another thing I was like, I kind of want to just do my own thing, so that way all of the responsibility lies on me. It's just, everybody's a control freak in their own way.
Yeah.
I'm a control freak when it comes to like, I want my stuff to be able to be my stuff. Because that's kind of what photography has always been. Like I didn't have anybody that really pushed me to it. It wasn't a part of my life growing up. Like I literally picked it up whenever I was 22.
Yeah.
I was probably like 23 and I'm 27. So like, it's the one thing that I have that I did on my own.
Yeah.
I air quotes, because obviously I've had help along the way.
Yeah.
But
so, you've been driving yourself to keep going. You know
like
what I mean?
the motivation is me shooting my favorite bands that 14-year-old me would be like, holy shit, you're doing this.
Yeah.
And so starting the publication, I was like, I have to give up this part. But I mean, I'm glad I did, because now we're doing cool shit.
Well, it is very difficult to give up control, like especially in something that you've worked on yourself and you've been able to do like so much on your own. But it's also being able to find the right people to work with, I guess, is the biggest thing. And it comes down to like everything. It's just like, who am I letting into this with me? And be okay with collaboration. You will have to give up on certain things. Like not everything will be a 50-50 like decision down the middle. You're not going to agree on anything. Like some stuff will lean the other way. And being open to that compromise and not immediately being like, so if you compromise on something and it doesn't work out, not being like, see, like I fucking knew it wouldn't work out. Like
the fucking worst is whenever you're like, hey, let's just try this, and it doesn't work out, and they're like, see, I told you we shouldn't have tried it. It's like, but now we know.
It's like, no, that's how, like we should have tried it, because exactly now we know what not to do, like going forward. So it did. And
you also know how you handle conflict.
Yes.
Because you have to know how to handle conflict with people in order to make anything work with a partner.
Yeah, because there's times where there were certain there was like a project that I was working on, and then all of a sudden, like someone was giving me new ideas, and I'm like, no, this is mine. Like, let me like do it, and then I tried that idea later when I finally was like, all right, like let's give into it. And it was awesome. And I'm just like, oh, fuck. Like, look how much time just got wasted because I didn't want to try it, because being apprehensive towards ideas of somebody else, like, don't touch my stuff like it's mine, instead of like that person was somebody that actually like I cared about and trusted. So I'm like, I should have done that earlier. You know what I mean? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And we know, but we don't know until you're actually trying something. Yeah. But yeah, the collective sounds like it must have been like really kind of nerve wracking on that end. But it was also just like, it also comes down to overextending your own reach. So a lot of people, I learned this from one of my really good friends, in Saints Can Lie. Mm. A lot of people say they're going to do a lot of things, but then they don't do them. Yeah. And then you become known as the person that says they want to do all these things, but then they don't do any of them. And so that's kind of how I was with photography. Is like 4 years before I bought a camera, I was like, yo, I want to shoot your band. Mm. And he was like, okay, like a lot of people say they want to shoot bands and then they don't do it. And at the time, I had more of an ego because I was like 20 or like 19 or 20. Mm-hmm. And I was like, damn, I don't want to do photography at all. And then a couple years later, I was like, that's not at all what that meant. Like, just if you're going to do something, do it. But don't overextend it. So like with the publication, I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to pull my weight. Mm-hmm. Because I know that Alexis, she's a hard worker. Like she does all the back end stuff for the website. Okay. So I have to make sure that I'm pulling my weight in other areas, mm-hmm. like talking to people, sending out press request emails, shooting shows, writing reviews. So it's a fear of that as well. And we have some ideas of like, hey, what if we eventually did this? Like, what if we got into like booking a few shows? Yeah. And I was a little apprehensive. I was like, whoa, hold on, like, I can barely handle my own weight right now. Mm-hmm. I'm worried about bringing that part in. But that's whenever we bring in collaboration. Yeah. Like, that's whenever you network with people, and that's kind of what we want to do. We want to make stuff with people. Like, we want to collab, mm-hmm. like with like Noise Rot, Heavyweight Cartel, like David Parada. Yeah. Like, we want to market with those people. Mm-hmm. So that way, instead of us doing our own thing, the scene is doing something. Yeah. Kind of like Bacon Fest. Oh, yeah, last night, yeah. Dude, I wasn't able to go because some things came up, but man, just looking at the lineup, insane. Yeah. And all it took was collaboration and people talking to make that happen. Michael is an energetic kid, man. He was telling me about it, like his idea. He's been talking about it for a while. But he's talking about it for a while. And seeing like his marketing tactics and stuff like that, I'm like, that's so fucking cool. Like, again, I have so much respect for like, let's fucking whole ass something and just like try everything. So like, I was seeing like the videos he was doing with like going around with painted light and like playing to random strangers, and just like he got so many of the bands to cooperate and create their own videos. I'm like, that's really cool. Dude, and it came from like an idea of like wanting to do this. I'm like, all you got to do is just do it. And it's what I like to encourage is like, if you have an idea, just try and find like the right people to help you, the right team. If you can't get something done yourself, figure out like don't be afraid to ask for help, because nobody would be anywhere without help. Speaking of Michael, the moshing bacon, dude, I think it was whenever Devil Wears Prada did their zombie tour last year, I was able to shoot it. I don't know if it was for the publication or not. I don't know, but I was able to cover it, and he was there, and he had some like college class thing going on. And so, have you seen the guy on TikTok that he'll
put his laptop on and he has a green screen attached to him.
Yeah.
Dude, he showed up to the Prada show with that on.
Really?
And I was like, what are you doing? He was like, oh, I've got like this going on. And he was like in the pit, like with like his whole fucking green screen behind him and everything. I was like, dude, that is the coolest shit I've ever seen.
Fucking doing it. You know what I mean? Like he's got these ideas and like they're ideas, but he's getting them done. Like, so that's one of the difference. Like, so we were just talking about like when you just kind of say stuff and don't do it. Like, I am that person. Like, once I start talking about like an idea, I have to remember, like, all right, if you were talking about this, you have to do it. Like, it's not what I used to do really when I was younger is I would talk up an idea so much because I would get the gratification or of somebody saying like, that sounds really cool.
That sounds
and
cool.
I'm
You
like,
should do it. And then you
I'm
don't
like, cool.
ever do
I don't
it.
need to do it. Like, they already got like the praise for it and I didn't have to do shit. You know what I mean? Like, I just had an idea.
Yep.
So like I tell myself most of the time when I want to do something, I was like, all right, do it first and then you can talk about it. Like,
dude,
once it's already like an actual thing.
I have a rule with myself where I either have to do something and then tell people about it, or I can't tell anybody about it until I know I'm actually going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody knows that I'm going to do something, I have to do it.
Yeah. Oh,
But,
really?
yeah, because like I already told people that I'm doing it, so I have to see it through now for myself.
Yeah. That's
I'm
that's
not
what's changed
that kind of
now.
like flaky person. Whereas used to, I would just pop ideas like out of my ass.
Yeah, and be like, oh, these are cool, but if there's
No
no
one
action behind it, then they mean shit. You know what I mean? They're doing squat.
I don't really do music videos anymore, just because I got a lot better at my photography, so I wanted to hone in on what I'm really good at.
Yeah.
But back whenever I was doing music videos, like I would talk to these bands and I'd be like, hey, I think these would be like sick ideas. I just can't do them. And it's like, I mean, at the time, the only bands I've really shot are like bands that I'm really close with.
Yeah.
But it's still like a thing where it's like I can't go to my full potential, so I'm not gonna bring these ideas to the table.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time though, you can always talk down big ideas.
True.
Like the important reasons. I did all of their music videos, and for their song "Abduction," they wanted. Do you remember "A Day to Remember's Right Back at It Again" music video? Where it was like kind of like green screen, kind of like cartoony.
Okay, yeah.
So one of their members wanted something like that. They wanted a green screen. They wanted to be in a spaceship. They wanted like alien. They wanted CGI. And I was like, yeah, that's really cool, bud. This is my very first music video.
Yeah.
So I don't know anything about green screen, don't know anything about visual effects. And I actually reached out to a guy that does animation. I was like, hey, this is going to be extremely out of our budget. Just throw me a price. Like, what would something like this cost? And he was like, probably about like $3,000. I was like, all right, well, this band's paying me like $500. So that's not going to happen. But in doing that, like, you can talk down a big idea to, we shot it at the drummer's house. Lives with his parents, shot at his house. Half the scenes were in the garage in the middle of July. And then the other scenes for the chorus, we moved everything out of his room, like his bed, his TV, literally everything. Set up the green screen, or not the green screen, set up just black drops, and then I just had these like shitty little tube lights that I could pulsate, and I just pulsated them green and purple. And I was like, all right, here's your alien stuff.
Yeah.
And then they purchased like a, I want to say like a $100 alien costume for somebody to wear. I was like, there you go. And it looks sick.
Yeah. So you can still get stuff done and not and not have to. I mean, again, a little compromise, but you still get to make something cool. You know what I mean? Without having to immediately like tell yourself like, well, I can't get this done, so I might as well do nothing at all. You know what I mean? In that case, but it's like it's way better for you to try something, and again, you probably learned a different way to do something in the process, like while you're creating something off of a bigger idea that you couldn't get done. The saying, this was probably the first and last time I try to do this, because you've probably heard the story, but the way I started this podcast was because I promised DJ that we were looking for ways to promote Chill Sounds and Breakdowns 3. And I was like, I was listening to podcasts at the time, and I'm like, a podcast would be cool. And he's like, I can do that. And I was like, yeah. And I even like had a whole plan like that I told him all. And he's like, yeah, like there's 6 weeks towards the until the fest. Like I'll do an interview every week. That's 6, and then we'll have 6 podcasts before the thing. Like we'll get to highlight 6 artists. He's like, cool, great idea. I'm like, all right. But I got my gratification. So like those weeks start passing by, and he's like, hey, look, when are you going to get started on that? I'm like, oh, yeah, wait. And then it came to the last 2 weeks, and I'm just like, I either chalk it up and don't do anything and then just let my friend down who I told that we were doing this, or I just fucking figure it out. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be my, not really punishment, but like now I have to do it in 2 weeks. So then I did the first 6 episodes, those 2 weeks, like completely like recorded, released, and it was terrible because I had to go, I think half of them, 3 out of the 6, I had to go to the persons and set up by myself on like equipment that I didn't know how to use. I had to figure out like where to get a second camera because I only had the one, and then everything was mismatched. Like every time I had an audio issue, I had no idea how to fix it. So I was like, please, everything just work. And I'd be there like setting up, and it just got it done. And that was the last time I'm like, well, I mean, it didn't go as I promised, but I still was able to get it done. And then after that, I was like, okay, I know what my structure looks like. I need to just do stuff before I talk about it. Not like, I'm going to book for the next month and then not do it. Or I was like, now if I book for the next month and it's done, I'd be like, hey, the next month's booked. Like I can actually say that. So it's always for me action before I can talk about it. It was the way my structure works. Like for my like organization to actually like my for my events and everything that I do to be organized first and do them first before I can actually tell people about it, because otherwise like I run into the issue of like, oh fuck, like I already talked about it, and like now I have to hold myself accountable, like you were saying, where it's like, oh, if I say it now, if I let something slip, like an idea like that, it's like fuck it, I have to do it now, like because I've said it, I can't.
Dude, and you're 80 episodes into it too. I think that's the coolest thing is you're still doing it.
I want to keep, and I like doing it, and I try not to like make myself feel bad as much, but I'm like, it should have been more, obviously, if I was consistent. But
what's like 5 episodes when you're 80 episodes
but
in?
we're still here, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's like that's where I like bring myself down. I'm like, but I'm still here, you know what I mean? Like I'm on pace, like I've still been doing it. It's still a thing that I can do, that I've dedicated to, and it's still fun.
Now you have a whole fucking setup.
There's a whole setup.
We got 5 episodes in and then just threw it in the can.
That's what like literally, and now like everything is set up by me. I do everything now except for the audio mix, which is next on my list to learn, so that I can figure out how to do everything and set up. But coming from that to like starting off and not knowing how to use any of the equipment to now I'm like everything is set up by me and I can do like all the editing and everything.
To get us going.
You know what I mean? Like it's
streamlined
progress. You know what I mean? And that's what I talk about a lot. But being so close to the picture where you don't see the entire thing of like how far you've come is really neat to see. And again, you get to, and in this case, I get to meet like a lot of cool people doing on the same like types of journey. Like just hearing you talk about like you how you started and coming up, like again, just helps inspire me and to want to keep doing cool stuff. And I think that's the importance of like community and like the music scene and just anything that you're doing. Like if anything, any endeavor, you need the right amount of people to get you going. You know what I mean? If you start to slip, you have people around you who like are not gonna let you slip by either being there, like actually this person telling you that like, hey, you need to do this, or even just by being in the presence of those people and be like, you know what, I need to step.
Dude, surround yourself by what you want to be. Because I mean, I was having this conversation with one of my friends yesterday, because we were talking about how like backhanded compliments. Mm-hmm. So he posted some photos and somebody was like, oh, this is your peak, and he was like, oh no man, like I'm just getting started. He was like, yeah, we'll see about that. And it's like, all right,
what the fuck,
like that, what do you mean by that? Like it's kind of an asshole thing to say, but then like you learn who to associate with because you are who you surround yourself with. Like if you surround yourself with a group of people that are just assholes, people aren't even going to know you, and they're going to be like, oh, you hang out with this group of people. Like, you have to be okay with that to hang out with that. Yeah,
you
Same goes for like progress too. Like if you if you surround yourself, kind of like what Brent was saying in his episode, if you surround yourself with people that are just telling you yes all the time, like your ego is going to get so fucking big that the second something small happens and somebody's like, yeah, I don't really like this. Like
the second you step out, the second you step out of that comfort zone, you will meet the actual reality and be like, you're not as what your head has built you up to be,
your
because
shit
like
stinks just like everybody else.
Yeah, and it's like you have to step out of that. I mean, that goes in, like I said, in every endeavor. I know with bands, I always feel like that's why you do have to play outside of your town. Like you have to go out on the road and meet. Like you'll meet new people that again have no stake in your game, just like want to either enjoy your music or tell you what they don't like. They're gonna be honest. You know, you have to be able to be okay with building that. You know, even if you, even if it sucks and it hurts to hear like some of these things like, oh, it's not as good, but again,
not everybody's gonna like your stuff anyways.
And that's a big thing.
If somebody is just like, yo, I don't like this, it's like, all right, cool, then just don't listen to it.
Cool, yeah. Like, and being okay with someone doesn't, again, like what I was saying, I was like, I support like all of my friends, like I don't have to like all of it, you know what I mean? But like, I'll be damned if I'm not gonna like try to help them out and get to like where they want to go. If they're still working and keep like they keep trying and they keep actually putting effort into this, then like I'm not gonna like be any sort of bump in the road for them. Like, I'm gonna try to do as much as I can to help them get to where they need to go. But I feel like you do that, and you've surrounded yourself with good people, because like your stuff has just like gotten better and you've been able to do cool stuff. And I feel like you're still getting building, and it's just going to build into like bigger stuff.
That's the thing,
like,
is I'm only a couple years into this.
Yeah,
like it's only the beginning. And I always have a joke that I was the ugly kid in high school. Like I was ugly and weird, and no shame in it. But as time has gone on, like I realized that I didn't peak in high school. And because, you know, a lot of people, like, whenever they start doing something, they're like, oh, I wish I could go back to, like, this time.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I could go back to whenever I was this. I don't have that in my life yet. And so I'd like to think that I haven't peaked, because I'm never like, oh, one day I'll get back to where I was.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I never want to be where I was, like, 2 years ago, like 5 years ago. I only want to be further along.
Yeah. That's a really good way to look at it, and a good way to feel. I think if you're always chasing that new peak of like where you'll be, it just means that you continue to love where you are. Like,
what did Miley Cyrus say? There's always going to be another mountain.
Always going to be another. Damn. The climb, baby. Damn.
Speaking of music, I have a very important question for you.
Yes.
I see you have Linkin Park's Meteor up there. Hybrid Theory or Meteora?
Meteor.
Agreed.
Meteor.
Okay.
Straight up. Yeah. Simple. Hybrid Theory, although Hybrid Theory has a special place in my heart, because it was the first, like, out of, I'm going to say, the mainstream of stuff. I mean, I think it got to sort of mainstream eventually, but it was the first actual CD that I bought that wasn't like hip hop or pop that was on the radio.
Hybrid Theory was the first album I ever owned.
Yeah, but it was, I always tell the story, my cousin sold it to me for $5 out of the case, just a disc, not a burnt copy. It was the real copy, but it was just like that. And I was like, oh, like, can I have it? He's like, you can have it for $5. And I'm like, all right. But he was super into that. So he had like the whole like spiky hair, just like they had in the fucking video for Crawling. And he was the one that got me into that. And I remember listening to that album, and it just completely changed on like what I thought music was.
Yeah.
But Meteor just like had my whole ass heart. I was like, it was just, dude, so
Meteor.
crazy.
I remember
so
listening to Hybrid Theory so much, and then because Meteor came out in 2004, I think so. Yeah. I was like, because I was like 8 years old when Meteor came out, and a couple months after it came out, I remember, you know, Numb was making its rotation on the radio. And we went to the mall, and my parents bought it for me, and then it just never left my CD player.
Yeah.
I was always listening to Meteora. Anytime we'd go on trips, you know those little portable DVD players that we used to have? I would just bring my CDs with me. To play. And just listen to Linkin Park.
I used to, my favorite thing was I got for my birthday, my mom gave me, it was a CD player, but it had, as when the anti-skip technology came out. Yeah. So that was like one of the first, but it was like, I forgot why. I think it was able to play like MP3 CDs too. I think when they were coming out.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I just remember having that, and like those were the CDs that were just like on my rotation at all time. And then like
I remember the little circle ones.
Yeah,
I had
ones.
one, and I put in my backpack, and then because backpacks used to have the little thing where you could have
you could put your headphones in the cord. Yeah,
and I would always just walk around school.
Did
like
you have
that.
the headphones that would go like that and around the back?
No, I just had the shitty little computer ones.
Oh, gotcha,
like
yeah.
little over the ear ones.
Yeah, good shit, man. But Meteora just again, like Hybrid Theory is like, I fucking love Hybrid Theory, but Meteora was the one where I'm like, this is so fucking cool because of how they first of all that shift into what they did in Meteora compared to Hybrid Theory.
They took what made Hybrid Theory so good and then just made it better.
Yeah,
it's I don't think. I mean, this is biased because I love Linkin Park.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a better example of a band's sophomore release than Meteora. Because you hear about like bands talk about like the sophomore slump, like they get really big on their debut album, and it's like, okay, how do we follow up?
Yeah,
and then Linkin Park just did it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think absolutely they did that. One thing I did want to ask, I know you do reviews like for Spitjam. How do you go about writing your reviews? Like, are you being as honest as far as like your opinion take, or how does that's what I always found. So I was doing reactions for a bit, and then I'm like, this isn't gonna work unless I can be brutally honest about like my tastes.
Yeah,
and I was struggling with that, and I'm just like, I don't know how to do this. Like,
so I have a few personal rules. Like, if I don't like the song, I'm not gonna review it. Because if I don't like the song, that probably means it wasn't a song for me in general. Yeah. So I shouldn't be reviewing it. I try to stress to our team, like, I don't want a lot of negativity. Like, if you feel like a song is lacking something, that's one thing. But we've had a few test submissions. I say test because we always kind of read them over.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, your review's good, but this 2 sentences is like taking a couple shots at some possible connections in the future. So like maybe let's take that out.
Yeah.
But honestly, the way I write reviews, because I mean, music is everything to me. I just get really high.
Yeah.
And then I'll listen to the song a couple times. And then if it's like a more emotionally driven song, I'll listen to the lyrics. And then I just kind of write about how it made me feel. I don't do a lot of reviews too much anymore because there's a lot of pressure that comes with it.
Yeah.
But I can talk about music all day, but writing it is different. My favorite review I ever did, though, was Wage War's Manic. The tour that they did with Spite and Nothing Nowhere. Because I remember editing those photos, and whenever I sat down to write the review, as I was writing it, this is going to sound so fucking corny. As I was writing it, I felt like I was building anticipation that I had while I was there. So I was like, yeah, they played these songs and like they threw it back to these songs, and then like they come out for their encore and they haven't played the headline, they haven't played the title track of the entire tour. So they came out and played like Johnny Cash. They went off stage, and then you just hear the beginning of Manic, and the entire crowd just like loses their shit before the music even kicks in. And one of my favorite things is like, even now that I'm talking about it, like I'm spacing out into that memory. I try to get that feeling in my reviews. That way, if I ever go back and read a review, I can remember what that moment was like.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really awesome, and I think that's what draws people in even more, because that's the same thing that I take in with like concert photography and recap videos or anything like that. I'm like, the ones that really like stick with me are the ones where I'm like feeling like I'm there too, and stuff that I read. Like I remember talking to Board Magazine. We were talking about that, and I was reading one of like their show reviews, and he was like setting the scene of like getting there and like stuff like that, and I'm like, that's really like cool and captivating. But it's what draws people in, is that feeling of like, it's a complete point of view of like how somebody saw that show, not just like the facts, but it's that whole like feeling of being there. And that's I think that's what draws people into like those articles and those reviews of
it's
stuff.
Also genuine. Like if you really wanted to, you could review every song that comes out on Friday with the same 3 sentences just regurgitated, And I mean, yeah, that could work, and you could get the opportunity to listen to stuff early and all that. We haven't been able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care to do that stuff, like
Yeah.
listen to stuff before it releases. But you can do that, and then just have a shell of a review where people are like, it's the same thing everybody else is saying.
Yeah.
Or you can write how it actually made you feel and like be genuine about it. That's why I don't like on my Instagram. You'll notice that I go weeks without posting a photo because I haven't found a photo that makes me feel something.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to. I mean, I want to post every photo I take, but the way I prefer to like handle my social medias and just life in general is like I want whatever I put out to mean something to me. Like I want to have an emotional tie to stuff.
Yeah.
So like with the Ghost Inside photos that I just put out, the caption was their Mercy song, "Life Swinging Hard, but I'm Swinging Harder," and I really like the photos that I took made me feel the emotions that I felt whenever I first heard that song. And then same with Under Oath. Like Under Oath is my girlfriend's favorite band, and she lost her best friend a few years ago, and Under Oath was their band. And so whenever I was editing my Under Oath photos, I was really like trying to portray the emotion of how happy it was to see them, but also how bittersweet it was to see them.
Okay.
And so that's kind of what that caption details too, is like I try to kind of like a diary. I'm trying to get back into treating my social media as kind of like my own just personal diary.
Yeah.
Instead of just doing things for clicks.
Gotcha. Yeah. That's just a more personal feel to it, but it also makes you enjoy doing it more, which means you'll actually do it more, you know, and that's why like when I have like the content conversation with people, I'm like, you just got to find what you like and like what you actually enjoy doing and putting out, and it's like, and then just make that. It's like make the stuff that when you put it out, like it makes you feel good, like, you know, it
and
not
just put
just
out content.
Yeah, and just put something out. And if you were just putting random stuff or just like the trend stuff and things like that, I'm like, it's gonna feel empty because it's not what you want to do.
It's not genuine. I mean, at some point you do have to. I'm working with a band right now on an upcoming release they have, and I'm trying to help them market the song on TikTok. And I'm like, hey, this is gonna sound crazy, but we're just gonna spam the hell out of TikTok.
Yeah,
because that's what everybody else does. Like if your goal is to get this song to kind of blow up, then we'll do it in a way that makes it blow up.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a lot of stupid shit.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, it's fine with us. I'm like, all
and,
right, cool.
and it works, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's finding a balance, because I think they're fun too to do that. But like once you only do that, it's really tough. Like I bring up, I remember the guy from this band called Loveless was doing a bunch of like covers like on TikTok, and they were getting fucking huge, and they were good, they were awesome. But then like that's all people wanted to hear, and like
Exactly.
people didn't want to hear his band, and I'm like, shit. So now I think you end up adjusting and now gearing towards more like figuring out how to like draw stuff. I mean, the whole point of like the TikTok was to bring attention to his band, so then figuring out how to do that.
You're bringing more attention to what you're posting instead of the overall picture. That's why I get like, I love whenever people post covers, but I think that everybody that posts covers to bring attention to their other band, I don't think it's, from a business side, I don't think it's the best marketing strategy. If you're doing it because you love it, do it. I love when people post covers of songs that they enjoy. I love watching how different people take that on. But I love it for it being a cover, not because it's tied to like this other band.
Yeah.
That being said, I always go and check out the other band anyways. But the majority of people don't do that because they're watching what's in front of them.
Yeah. And then once they interact with what's in front of them, they're like, that's what I want. Like, because that's,
I like this video, and since it's on your channel, I'm expecting more videos like this.
Yeah. So that's what so I'm figuring out, because I still haven't launched like a Noise Rot TikTok, but I'm about to. And that's what I've been trying to figure out. I'm like, what's my balance? Like, I have a flow of stuff where I'm like, I have a nice workflow to what to put out. And we have stuff to promote shows. We have stuff from the podcast that I can put out that works. But I also I started talking with Bernice, and we were discussing like I also want to create a space where we can talk about the shit that we like absolutely like enjoy, that doesn't necessarily like, we don't have like we don't have a show for it, we don't have anything, like just like what music do you like, because I know the music that you like is, we agree on some stuff, but there's some stuff that you like that I don't. I go, and then there's some stuff that I like that you don't, and then some DJ, like, so we have so many like perspectives that we can utilize that, again, just to share more music with people and just to create that community for us.
Thing, especially on TikTok, is still, it's still relatively new, and so a lot of people are still like, oh, it's TikTok.
Yeah,
but like, it's a social media platform that has more average users than anything else right now.
Yeah,
so why not utilize it? But at the same time, like, so for the band that I'm helping, I was like, hey, we're gonna do this on TikTok, not on Instagram and like Facebook, because your Instagram and Facebook, you guys have a serious tone, you guys have this portrayal of yourselves.
Yeah,
but on TikTok, if you guys want to just be dumb and stupid, by all means.
Gotcha.
But if you want to keep your image outside of TikTok, do that. I think I don't see any problem with people doing different things across different social medias.
Definitely. Yeah, I definitely see that. And I've seen multiple people do that, where they do like their like a sort of niche signature content on TikTok, and then their Instagram is just like completely like different.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
And it's just, but you, at the bottom line, you have complete control over all that. So whatever you want to do, you can do. Like, it's not, there's not a strict cookie cutter thing. Like, I've seen so many people make careers out of just like stuff that they love doing, and it's so fucking fascinating and cool.
And the thing is, like, anything can blow up on places like TikTok.
Anything, yeah.
Like
I've
Dial
seen,
Tones,
yeah,
Dial Tones by the band Catch Your Breath. That song somehow just blew the fuck up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And now it's like their biggest song, and now they have such a big following, like on TikTok specifically. But I mean, like Bad Omens, Just Pretend, like blew up on TikTok.
Fucking big, yeah.
And another thing is like, God, this turned into just a marketing spiel at this point. But a lot of people don't realize that, like, yeah, promote your new music, but if you put out like an EP or an album, promote everything like it's its own single on places like TikTok.
Yeah,
because old songs pop off all the time. Like King for a Day. It's always been the staple of like 2010s emo post-hardcore. But nowadays it's not as relevant anymore until people started doing it on TikTok.
Yeah.
And then now an entire new wave of people are going back to older albums.
Yeah. And enough to where like I think that was a big deal. I don't know if they were already in the process, like Pierce the Veil, of like returning and recording a new album, but that must have been like, once that started blowing up, be like, oh, okay, cool, we're gonna write something.
Been some more gas in the tank,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just opens up. You can't just limit it to like what's new. Even though, as an artist, sometimes when you write your new stuff, you're like, I don't care about the old stuff as much anymore. But you find new fans every day that are finding like this music for the first time. Like, you can't assume that everyone heard it at the right time. There's a song you wanted more love on your last release. Show the love now. Yeah, and it's just really cool. I think utilize in a really like again, just an extension of your creative process. Like, social media just like does some really cool shit for like music. There's it's
a double-edged sword.
Bad, and I think that's with anything ever. Like, there's always the bad with it, but I think I've seen some really interesting and cool stuff happen with music, with art in general, and just even like businesses and stuff like that. It's been really cool to see. Man, it's just interesting to see what's going to happen with it. But so you are doing some more shows and in Spitjam Collective right now. Anything like upcoming projects here? I mean, you're working with that band, I know, with their marketing.
Trying to think. I'm shooting the Bless the Fall show in a couple weeks, thanks to Spitjam.
Nice.
That's a big one for me, because the first band I ever bought a ticket to see was Bless the Fall, opening for August Burns Red back in 2013.
Oh my god.
That's whenever I found out about Beartooth, who, if you know me, you know I fucking love Beartooth. First memory of any concert was Caleb Shomo's stage diving at the House of Blues.
Oh shit.
I walked in at the end of Beartooth's set, not only knowing their song I Have a Problem, saw him stage dive, immediately went and bought the last copy of their Sick EP that they had. And I was like, all right, this is my personality now. But I went for Bless the Fall, and then my second show was Bless the Fall Hollow Bodies when it came out. And so to be able to not only go to their 10-year show, but also, and it's their first show back. like first tour back after however many years, but to also shoot it, like it's a win-win for 14-year-old me and current me.
Which is why like you're doing what you're doing, literally to shoot the bands that you like.
Exactly, because I had I didn't have like the worst childhood, like family wise, but I definitely had a rough childhood in high school because I was always like different from people. And so the one thing I would always do is I would just lay in bed and listen to music like all night, and I still do that to this day. So that's why I got into it in the first place, was to just be a part of the music scene that helped me like keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I'm super excited to see the stuff you have coming up with, like all your projects and your photography. I mean, I only really just met you like this year, but it's been kind of really cool to see like some of the stuff that you've been working on and continue to work on, and opportunities that you're creating for yourself. And it's super exciting. I'm thankful you stopped by today. This was honestly like really fun. I didn't even notice, but we're kind of deep into it right now. It's like an hour and 20, almost an hour and a half already.
Jeez.
Thank you. What the fuck is that noise? Oh, it's the AC. I thought it was an alarm, but I was like, I don't think we have one of those. But no, yeah, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. And then, yeah, anytime you want to come back, just let me know.
Yeah, for sure.
But this has been episode 80 with Michael Ford from Spitjam Collective. Hire him for all your videography, photo projects. Give him something to do.
Hire me for your video recaps, because I'm trying to get back into doing video recaps.
Hell yeah. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you next time.
Sounds and breakdowns. Better lose your man. We should run away together while we still can.